Hello, welcome to Topper Machine. I'm Josh Topper. In today's video, we are going to thread some big bolts. I've got some 2-inch bolts, or 2-inch round stock to turn into rock crusher bolts. And we're going to be threading a 2-inch, 4.5 pitch by 24-inch long on one end, and then 2-inch 8 by 4.5 inches on the other end. So let's get started. So these are the bolts that I already done, and I didn't think you really cared to see those because they were 2-inch by a foot, pretty easy to do. This is the one we're going to be doing. It's 100 inches long. We got 2 feet of 4.5 pitch on one end and the 4.5 inches of 8 pitch on the other. So we'll get it up in the lathe and we'll get her center drilled and then start threading. So I'm going to try doing this without the steady rest first to center drill it. We'll see how that works. I got her in the chuck nice. And we're just going to run it. Yeah. We'll have to use the steady rest. Unfortunately, that's going to add a little time to the job. All right, so we got the steady rest up there, and now we're just gonna adjust the jaws in, the rollers, and I think a lot of you are probably gonna be like, oh my God, that's the wrong way. You can't do it like that. Well, I've been doing it like this for 20 years, and my success rate has been way over 100%. So, okay, well that can't be possible, but you just bring them in until they touch and then adjust to where they stop skipping. And you can feel that just by putting a little bit of pressure on the roller. Those two are good. And bring the top down. I gotta close it here. And we're good right there. All right, we're all lined up. Got my center drill in there. We'll go ahead and just get our center drill mark cut. And that's enough of a center drill. Now I'm just going to take my threading tool that I'm already using and just put a little chamfer on the end. Just to start, because it makes it easier in the long run. All right, we got that end done. We'll flip her around, do the other end, get the steady rest out of here, and thread the 8 pitch first. All right, we're gonna get the lathe set up here. I'm gonna thread at 125 RPM, which is maybe a little slow for 8 pitch, but come on, drop in there. And then we're gonna go to 8 pitch, so inch 8, just C1. C1. And there we go. So these are non-critical bolts, so I just line up on the end, I zero my digital readout, and then we'll go ahead and touch off. Right there. Zero my readout again. And I'm just gonna go in with the cross slide, not using the compound. And I'm gonna go 60 thousandths deep to start with. And we'll catch the number as it comes by. And here we go. And I'm going 4.5 inches. I'll just back out the cross slide when I get there. There. I'm going to take it in. I went 60 on the first pass. I'm going to take it into 80 on this pass. These inserts hold up really well. Okay, so I hope my shadow isn't blocking it too much, but I got my thread dial here. We're going to aim for that 2, and in we go. That's 2 passes down. All right, the customer gave me a sample nut because anything over about 1.5 inches, you really run into consistency problems. Let's see if I can't get her to start, see where I'm at. And I could measure this with the thread wires, but like I said, so much inconsistency in these larger sizes that just matching them to a nut is the best idea. Looks like I'm getting about 1/2 thread. So we're not far out, maybe about 5 thousandths, maybe 10 to get that nut on there. So we'll go ahead and take another pass. Let's try it again, see if we got it. That was just 5 thousandths. Nope, not quite. So we'll just take a little bit more and keep going until we get a nice snug fit, but where it threads on all the way. Boy, that starts nice. Then we run into a tight spot right there. That's probably just some tool deflection or something. We'll just run another spring pass. One more spring pass ought to clean this up, and then we'll hit it with a file, and this end should be done. All right, I've sped it up to about 250 RPM to file it. With the stick out I got out the back, you don't really want to go more than that because it'll shake your machine all to death and possibly whip that bar around, bend it, hit something, kill someone. So it could be pretty bad. And we're just going to clean up that thread a little bit with the file, and it feels good. Let's see how we did. Should be done with this. That's a nice snug fit. I don't feel any slop there. Goes on good. Yeah, very nice. Like I said, you could measure that, but the book, you'd never get it close. Like I said, the inconsistencies in these big nuts is horrible. Unless you're ordering something that's absolutely perfect or making them from scratch. And in an application like this, they're not going to want to spend the money to make them from scratch. So just buying the off-the-shelf nuts works out well. All right, let's get that flipped around, get the Followrest on, and we'll thread the other end. All right, so I'm not going to line up with my bolt holes here. I'm going to have to turn my compound, which is always left at 29.5 degrees for threading. A lot of people just don't understand that, and if you don't understand that, you're really not a machinist. You leave your compound set for all, quick setup, quick turnaround on threading. So we'll just go ahead and loosen everything up, which I already kind of did, but we're going to turn it. We're going to turn it actually straight, and we're just going to run this straight in. We're not going to bother with the compound on this. This is a 4.5 pitch, so it's going to be a coarse one, but we'll get there. All right, let's see if she'll come over now and line up. Oh yeah, much better. All right, and I still need to turn my tool post here to get her straight and true to for the thread we're going to cut. Right there. And I just eyeball it. I line up the side of my cross slide with the side of my tool post or my tool holder, and that gets me really close to what I need. Actually, I'm just a little off yet. right there. So I'm going to go ahead and back these jaws off. And the really neat thing about the Lion's Followrest is these jaws are hardened, which is really nice for doing this kind of stuff. You're not chewing up, you know, soft material. I'll just tighten everything down here. And we'll just see how it runs first. Actually, it looks like it's turning pretty good. Like we got her pretty straight with the steady rest when we center drilled it. So we'll go ahead and just bring these down to touch. I go ahead and turn my coolant on because I run the coolant on the Followrest. All right, so this is a 2-inch 4.5, so we need a D2. We'll engage the spindle, just make it easier to shift. And there it is, and I'm running 125 RPM, so this will go pretty good, pretty quick actually. All right, so we got our coolant set up, everything looking good. My insert's still good. I'm just gonna touch her off, see where we're at. Zero my readout. Come in at the end, zero my both axes really, and we're just going to come in. We're going to come in 100 thou, 50 thou aside for this first pass, and we'll engage it on the number that I want. Here it goes. Turn that light back on, see if that helps us. That's 11 inches so far. 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24, right there. And there is the first pass. 24 inches of 4.5, 2-inch 4.5 thread. I guess we'll keep on threading here. All right, now I repositioned my coolant a little bit, just to try to get back in the threads we're cutting. And this time I'm gonna go to 130 thousandths, because we're just going straight in, so we're just taking a little at a time. Actually, I'll go to 135, and we'll catch the number when it comes around. There it is, here we go. That's looking good. We'll wind up tightening that after a while, but we can keep on threading. All right, I'm starting to see a little bit of vibration. Nothing too crazy, so I'm gonna just go ahead and snug up my Followrest a little bit. We'll go ahead and start her, and like I said, nothing too crazy, just a little bit. That feels good. All right, we'll take our next cut. Yeah, that sounds better already. I'm taking some pretty healthy passes, so I just moved the coolant off the Followrest for the time being here. But we're picking enough coolant lubrication up as we go to make this work. So. I just snugged up the the Followrest a little bit more. I was getting a little more vibration than I want. I think it's kind of the nature of the beast. You're going to get some, and especially with heavy cuts like I'm taking. I'm taking about 15 to 20 deep per pass, so it's a healthy cut. So I just noticed a problem, and this is a common thing when you get into these really coarse threads. I just got to get her to engage right. Is my my tool post is starting to creep on me, and that's totally normal in this application. There's so much torque, and I'm taking a healthy cut. So now I need to just bring this in, get her lined up best I can, retighten it, and then just pick the thread back up where I was and keep going. All right, I still got my half nut engaged. We're still tracking. I'm just gonna bring it in to touch and figure out where I need to be now that I'm straight. And then I'll zero my readout for that. We'll disengage and come back and start over. And we'll try to take a little lighter cut, see if that helps us out. So I wasn't happy with that chatter I was getting, and I tried adjusting and I just cannot get that adjusted out. So it's not affecting my surface finish, which is really cool, but I'm having a hard time getting that out of there. And I don't want to push too hard with the jaws and deform the threads, so we might just have to live with it until the end. So I've really been fighting that chatter, and I come over and I'm looking at my insert here, and it's got a few little possible nicks in it, so I'm just going to go ahead and change my insert and see if that helps us out. Okay, I changed out the insert, double checked my location, and we'll go ahead and engage when I get to the 2 here. take a nice light pass to start with just to see where we are. All right, now we're gonna try a cut. We're gonna take about 10 thou. We may just be trying to clean up that chatter now. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so I just adjusted the Followrest again, just seeing if I can't get that out of there. I'm going to take just a lighter cut. I'm just wondering if the chatter is exaggerating over the distance. This is sounding a lot better. Maybe I can get the chatter out of it and then we can go back to cutting. And then again, I may have to adjust it at after every cut because it's rubbing the top of the thread down. You notice how the chatter quits down here when it gets closer to the solid bar. So I'm just thinking that it's wearing down the tops of that thread a little bit and causing that chatter. But we'll just keep taking light passes. We got a ways to go. Well, the chatter is definitely improved, and I'm taking about 5 thousandths a pass. We're getting there. It's whittling down. Won't be long. We'll be able to check it, see how our nut fits, if it starts at all. Let's just see if the nut will start here. Oh, I might have gotten her. She's snugging right up. It's just a little more to go. I can see the chatter out here, but it really don't feel that bad. And a couple of smooth, real soft passes will have her. But we'll go ahead and take a couple more light passes and finish this thing up. All right, let's give this another try, see if our nut will go on. I only took about another 5 thousandths total. Boy, that's a nice fit. Is she gonna go all the way is the question. I couldn't get all that chatter out of there, but that's actually pretty good. She's still spinning on. Actually spinning pretty smoothly, so that little bit of chatter isn't affecting me. It's nice and tight. There's almost no rock whatsoever. And I think as long as they use this nut, they'll be in good shape. Because, like I said, there's so much inconsistencies in these modern nuts. Anything over 1.5 inches, we just fight with getting consistency out of them. So, but I think we're in good shape here. So we'll be able to get this out of the lathe and finish this job up. The last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take and use my threading tool and just make sure I don't have a burr there from starting the thread. I'll just knock it down a little bit, no big deal. And then just take my file and clean up that approach a little bit. Make sure we don't have a burr. And I think that looks good. Yeah, that cleaned up nice. Perfect. And I don't feel any sharp edges on this anywhere. Thanks to the Followrest. Those hardened jaws on there really do a nice job. Well, there you have it. We threaded that 2-inch rod to a 4.5 pitch, 2 feet long, using the Lion lathe and the Followrest. This is something I did about 1 year ago for this customer for the first time, and they're now a repeat customer because I was able to do this. There's a lot of torque transmitted into them rods when you're cutting deep, big threads like that, so you got to be mindful of your tool moving. or it shoving in the jaws, that's a common problem. So with that, we'll end here. Until next time, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.